Hello, it's Father Edward Looney here with you all again. And as many of you know, every now and again, I release little videos, conversations that I've had with people in Hollywood, different actors, actresses, film producers. And I just became aware of a show, and I was able to watch the first season on YouTube, and it's called Vindication. Now, a lot of people know about The Chosen, and so there's a group on Facebook, Catholics and The Chosen. And Peggy, the actress we're going to be speaking with, she posted about the show in that group, and that kind of started my own interest, curiosity, and wanting to have this conversation with her today. So, Peggy is a film and stage actor originally from New Orleans, where she graduated from St. Mary's Dominican High School and performed in plays at Jesuit High School. She is known for her roles of Becky Travis in the faith-based crime drama series Vindication, and a few other roles as well. She has produced short films, music videos, and is an associate producer of the upcoming A Christmas in New Hope. And so I'm very excited to talk about Vindication and introduce you all to this show. So thanks so much, Peggy, for joining me today.
Hello, Father. It is wonderful to be here.
Yeah, so maybe just tell us a little bit. It seems from your bio that you started your acting career in high school, of course. That's where a lot of people get their start. But then, of course, here's your career and your interest in the industry. So just maybe touch upon some highlights from your own career as an actress.
Well, as I said, I started in actually middle school in New Orleans and high school doing plays there, musical theater. And then, as I say, I took off several decades from acting. I did not pursue it. I became a graphic designer, well, got married, became a graphic designer. In fact, I married the light man from the plays from high school. Um, and we just celebrated our 40th anniversary. So, but yeah, I did not pursue acting. And then we had children, and as our children were getting older and they were trying to decide what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I started thinking, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I had always loved acting. So I got back into theater, and then from theater branched out into doing film and television. And in the Austin area, a lot of independent film. But I was at a film festival several years ago, and I met a man who had created a short film, and the name of the short film was Vindication. He had made it for his church in Texas, and his film was in the festival, and I had a film that was in the festival, and we met there, and he told me that there was interest in turning that short film into a series, and if he was going to do that, would that be something that I'd be interested in doing? And, I told him yes. Oftentimes you hear these things as an actor and you're like, and then things just don't pan out. But then I found out that he was creating another short film, which is like the second edition of the short film Vindication. And he created that. And they reached out to me, the casting director reached out to me to audition for it. And he said, no, 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 he was going to wait. And because he had an idea for a role he wanted for me if they got to do the series. So the first two episodes, what became the first two episodes, were really short films, and they were so well received that they were able to get the funding to turn it into the first season of Vindication. So there are 10 episodes for the first season of Vindication, and it's gone so well. It's on Redeem TV and Pure Flix, which is now Great American Pure Flix. And season 3 came out this past fall, and we're working on season 4. And it's really found a wonderful audience because it's faith-based, but it's more cutting edge. It's a crime drama, and it deals with some serious type of criminal things that go on in the world today, and the struggles that people have, that Christians have in everyday life. But it does it in a way that you don't have to hear vulgar language, you don't see the nudity, you don't see the violence, but you know what happens. But it shows it to you from a Christian perspective, and there have been such great reactions from audiences. So I'm thrilled to be part of it.
When I watched the first season, and you mentioned it's available Redeem TV, PureFlix, and then also I was able to watch it. There's a playlist on YouTube, so I watched season 1 that way. And I didn't know what to expect going into it. And kind of watching the first episode, watching the second episode, was a little confused. And I guess, now as I look back at it, as we're speaking, I'm like, I don't know why I was so confused. Because for me, like, what I was kind of surprised by was I watched the first episode and I just expected it to pick up where episode one left off. So you have, I think they were in an interrogation or something like that. So I thought it was going to be a continuation of that story. But each episode, for the most part, that I've seen so far, except for the last two of season one, kind of were standalone episodes. And it kind of makes sense. You watch normal television, if you watch Law and Order or whatever, they're always, kind of there's one running line throughout the series, but each episode is new people that, new crimes being solved. So that's what it is. But I guess as I kept watching then, so I watched all 10 episodes of season one. What really struck me was, I don't know if you're familiar with this show. It was on Fox. It's called Accused. And I think there was only one season of it, but it was just like at the very, like, it would tell the story, and at the very end, um kind of there'd be the unexpected ending, if you will. And that's what I kind of thought here in Vindication. And it's probably the whole premise of each episode. So you have a crime, or someone that's being investigated, whatever, but then at the very end it kind of like flips it around, and something you're not expecting. And that's the takeaway, I think. So I think it's very cleverly written. I think that's a great device, because it left me, pondering it a little bit. It left me a little bit in somewhat of bewilderment at times, but then I began to appreciate it as each episode went on. So I don't know, what's your impression of the series overall as an actress in it?
Well, but to comment on what you're saying, because that is definitely what happened with season one. As I said, the first two episodes really were intended to be standalone short films. But Jared, who is the creator of the show, wrote season one to where each episode pretty much can stand alone. But the feedback that he was getting from people is that as the audience got to know certain people who were recurring characters, myself, I play the wife of the lead detective, and our daughter is in the series, and then there's the other police detectives and things. But people kept telling him and sending in comments saying, "We want to know more about what's going on in their lives." And so as you continue on with season two, but especially in season three, that formula sort of changes. So it's not so much one episode with one particular crime, but there's more of things that are weaving through as you go along. And that's because of the feedback that he's gotten. I was on a call with him. We had a roundtable discussion the other day, and someone, one of the big fans gave him was talking about something, and you could just see the wheels turning in Jared's head. He's like, "Oh, that's interesting." So it's so nice to be on something that is fluid, that the writer director is creating as we go, and we can make suggestions because we know our characters, especially after doing it for so many years and so many seasons, being an actress in this character. And what and a gift, what a blessing to be able to continue to play this character. um but I'll make suggestions, or he'll ask me and he'll say, "What do you think Becky would do for this? And how are you feeling about other things?" And there's a character who's introduced. Oh, when is she introduced? In season two? Did you meet Doris at the end of season one? I'm trying to
I
remember.
don't think so.
Okay, you haven't met Doris yet, but that was a character that I had suggested. So it's wonderful to be involved as not just as an actor, but to have input to the creative process of what's going on in the show.
Tell me a little bit about the character you play in the series Vindication.
Well, I played Becky Travis. The show revolves around Gary Travis. He is a police detective in a small Texas town. Um, and when you meet Becky, you meet her in episode three. When she comes in, you come back into the Travis home, and she is a woman of strong faith, and her husband is not. This lead detective, the lead character in the show, is not a person of faith, and this is a faith-based series. But what I love about her is that she very gently leads her husband towards faith. You never pushy, but always leading. And I think that that's something that a lot of couples can really connect to. Is learning how to guide someone, that because when you're strong in your faith and you want to bring someone else to it, you have to be really careful, I find, about how you can lead someone without turning them away. And I love the fact that she is able to bring him to faith. And as you keep going in the series, there's things that happen with my character, as do with all Christians, with all humans, is that we struggle in life. And even though we accept, Christ, and we're, people of faith, that doesn't mean that life is without struggles. And throughout the upcoming seasons, you'll see that has a tough time. And I love the fact that Jared allows the character to do that, and to show the audience that, yes, this life is not always easy. But the most important thing is to be able to turn to God, and not turn away when we need him the most.
Yeah, it was actually in the season finale for season one that there's this pivotal moment of faith and prayer for Detective Travis. So
Yeah.
I won't give a spoiler or anything like that, but I what I really like too is just kind of how the faith and belief and Christianity are presented in the show. Of course, you and I were both Catholics, and this is a Christian show, so this isn't necessarily promoting Catholic beliefs and values, but a lot of times with mainstream Christianity, our Catholic beliefs and values align, etc. So, but to have kind of a little monologue about faith, from one of the individuals, or here's the inclusion of a scripture passage or whatever. It's just enough where it satisfies kind of the Christian theme, and it's not too much that probably would deter a secular viewer.
Yeah, we've even had comments. I know there was someone who commented on IMDb that they said, "I just watched the entire season and nobody told me this was a faith-based show." It's like, oh, but you watched the whole thing, which is something that we're aiming for, because when you look at television, and being an actor, they're always trying to be as inclusive of different communities, different types of people that they're portraying in the movies and on television. But I think what they really are missing out on is showing true Christians and just living their everyday life. In the show, we're not trying to be, oh, this is a Christian character. It's like, it is a person who is a Christian and they live their life that way. And we simply want to portray true Christians in living within the real world.
Yeah, and as you were talking about kind of how Vindication came to be, the fact that it was at a film festival, the first two episodes were two short films, becomes a series. But what you said was it was created for this person's church. And you see that, a lot of these Christian films that we've grown up with over the years, Facing the Giants or whatever, that was a movie made by some church, I believe, down in Georgia. And it's interesting to me that non-denominational churches might be invested in wanting to tell a story through film, through a show, whatever it might be. But that's exactly how The Chosen began too. And so Dallas Jenkins does this little Christmas show for his church. And
Right.
God planted the seed there and it blossomed. And now you have a multi-season Chosen series, two Christmas specials. So it's so interesting that that's how God worked in bringing a show like The Chosen, a show like Vindication to fruition, was by a local church and then expanding from there.
Right, right.
And I know as we talk about The Chosen, there's an individual that a lot of people, Chosen fans, know, Liz Tabish. And I think you have some sort of story about Liz Tabish and the Rosary. So I was
I
really
do.
interested in hearing that.
Yes, Liz Tabish and I have been friends for years. She was an actress in Austin, and I worked on several short films and different projects that she had done. Um, so the story, it was at the beginning of the pandemic. My husband and I, we lived in Austin, but we have a little vacation home on a river. Um, and it was near the beginning of the pandemic, and I followed the Pope on Instagram. and he had put out a message saying he wanted Catholics throughout the world to all pray the rosary on the same day at the same time. And I thought that's a perfect thing to do. And then, but then I realized we're not at home. My rosary is at home. I don't have one here at the house on the river. And then I started to think that no, actually, I had done a short film. It had been about 2.5 years before, and I was on location somewhere that was close to the river house. And I thought, you know what? I was praying the rosary in that short film. Where did I put it when I came back here? And the first place I looked, I found it. I didn't even have to look for it. I found that little wooden rosary, and I went down to the river to pray, and I prayed the rosary. And while I was praying, my phone went off, but I had gotten a message, but I ignored it. And as soon as I finished, I picked up my phone and I had an email. And the email was from Liz Tavish. And she said, Peggy, I just came across this picture of you from that short film we did a few years ago. And it's such a beautiful picture. I wanted you to have it. And it was a picture of me praying the rosary on that short film set. And I had not seen that rosary in 2.5 years. And she sent that picture to me right at that moment when I was praying with that little rosary. So it's very special rosary to me.
Wow, that is a beautiful little gift. And as you talk about kind of the short films you've done, so there you were in a short film praying the rosary, making a short film with Liz Tabish. Tell us a little bit, you've been in Vindication. It's a multi-season show that you're in, but what about some of the other projects you've worked on? What are some of those?
Well, a lot of things people have never heard of. The one thing that people may probably have heard of is I was a recurring character on Fear the Walking Dead. So lived in the world of zombies. They never did kill me because the pandemic hit. And so my character just, as they say, fell into a plot hole and you never knew what happened to her.
Mm.
Um, but lots of different independent feature films and short films. I've also worked in casting, and I've done casting for some bigger projects. A Terrence Malick film, did the background extras casting for a film that's coming out this year. That's called The Long Game, that has Dennis Quaid in it, and an excellent true story about a golf team in Texas in 1958. It's a beautiful story. So The Long Game, I would highly recommend. And then doing some producing and some directing. I was a producer on, and as you mentioned, a film that's coming out for probably Christmas in July and next Christmas, which is A Christmas in New Hope. So just trying to be as involved in the industry as I can. But I have to say that once I got onto Vindication, it really did change the way I view my career. Because before, since I had started late, I just wanted to do as much acting as I possibly could. But after getting to Vindication, I realized, no, my career really is me finding ways to serve God and what he wants me to be doing to serve him. And so I've changed my focus to really be looking for not only faith-based, but positive messages and faith and family friendly type projects are what I'm really focusing on. Yeah.
The Christmas movie that you referenced uh,
hmm
about New Hope, where is that one going to be available? Is that going to be is that Great American? Is that Hallmark? What network is that?
They're still trying to find a home for it. There are a few different platforms that are interested in it. We've had some test screenings in theaters, and it went well. So we're waiting to see. It missed this Christmas season because it wasn't quite ready yet. But there's a young actress who was introduced in this. Her name is Mia, and she is a young girl, 12, 13, who lives with Down syndrome, and brought her on to be a character in it. And it's not about her having Down syndrome. It's just she happens to have it, and she's she's a character in it. And she was just so wonderful to have on this film, and just show inclusion. And she was recently on MSNBC when the new Barbie came out, who has Down syndrome. She was the national spokesperson for commenting about how she feels about having a Barbie that represents her, which was really nice.
That's yeah, I remember that story of Barbie and the Down syndrome individual. So that's great, connected with that little film that you guys filmed as well. So, well, it seems like you're having a great career right now in the industry. Vindication, I never heard of the show until you posted about it on that Facebook group, and I'm happy I came across it. And maybe probably would have been better if I found it 3 months ago when all the shows, because of the writer strike and everything, were kind of on a pause, because as this comes out, a lot of those shows that everybody watches on NBC or ABC or whatever, they're going to start releasing new episodes now. But I hope people will find time for Vindication. They're short episodes. They're about 30 minutes, 32, 34 minutes, so not long. You can watch one before bed or as you're falling asleep or whatever. And yeah, a very convenient show, and a good show, a wholesome show as well. Maybe one last question. What's some of the things you watch on television these days? So, of course, you're concerned about making godly shows and good wholesome shows, and Vindication is one of them with that godly message. But what do you enjoy watching on television or in film?
Honestly, and I joke about it and I say I don't watch much TV because I can't figure out how to turn it on. It's just it's so complicated to find things. But I will say I enjoy watching. There's Redeem TV is one of the platforms where Vindication can be found, and it is one that I definitely recommend, and I watch things on there quite a bit. It is a faith and family friendly platform. The majority of the content on Redeem TV is free. There's a few things because of contracts and things that you have to be a donor in order to watch it. So seasons 1 and 2 of Vindication are free on Redeem TV. They're also now on YouTube, seasons 1 and 2. And then for season 3, you need to be a donor, but you can make a $25 donation and get to see all of season 3 and season 4 when it comes out. But
And
there are lots of other really good programs on there that some are specifically Catholic, a lot of them are Christian.
and is season 3 available on PureFlix?
Yes, yes. Great American
That would
PureFlix
be
has season 1, 2, and 3. So if someone
Yeah.
is subscribes to Great American PureFlix, they can see all 3 seasons. Yes.
Yeah, I accidentally subscribed to PureFlix. Someone I knew was in a show or in a film. Miracle at Manchester is what it was
Oh,
called.
yes.
And
Yeah, I
so,
watched it.
yeah, I want to see it. And so, it's one of those things. Oh, here's your free trial. Here's my credit card so you could charge me. So I have a year-long subscription to PureFlix, which I guess
Oh.
isn't the worst subscription service to have uh, a membership with. So, supporting good work and wholesome television, etc. So I'm a fan of that, and they can take my $60 or however much it was for the year. But yeah, I'll have to look for it there on PureFlix with my accidental subscription.
Yeah. But then there's other things that are available in other places. There was one that you and I had talked about earlier, Nefarious. Oh, that is an amazing film, and I definitely recommend that. There's a new film by Angel Studios coming out to theaters soon called Cabrini,
Yeah,
and I bought my ticket for that. So I would recommend for Catholics, for Christians, to support faith-based content. If you can get to the movie theaters and support things like that, it'll help get more content like that out there, and we need it.
yeah. There's another filmmaker out there that I have been following. Actually, we overlapped in the seminary. He ended up not becoming a priest, but he's making a film about Maximilian Kolbe, and he's
Oh,
trying
I
to
saw that.
really, yeah, he's
Yeah,
trying to
that looks
pitch it
good.
right now. But so I hope we're thinking of the same one. So this is Anthony D'Ambrogio's. Uh,
Yes.
there's another one that I saw something from CNA. Maybe a new Polish Colby movie or something like that. So I'm
Ah,
like, oh, this
okay.
isn't good for him that there's another competitor.
Oh,
But
maybe that's the one I
uh,
know of. There's somebody who's doing
yeah,
crowdfunding right now, and the crowdfunding is going really well for it.
yeah, that's Anthony D'Ambrosio.
Okay.
So there's
Um,
lots of great content out there being made by Catholics, being made by Christians. There is wholesome TV, and
so please get out there and support it.
yes, yeah, indeed. And I'm going to finish watching Vindication in my downtime each evening, watching a few episodes here and there. we're recording this. It's the middle of a blizzard here in Wisconsin, so
Ah,
I'm sure I'll get a few more episodes in today.
very good, and I'd love to hear what you think. Give me
Yeah.
your feedback, and if you have ideas, maybe I can pass them on to Jared too.
So you talked about season four. So there's seasons one to four. Do you think there's going to be a season five, or is season four going to be the wrap? Or
There's talk about going on because there are a lot more stories to be told, and
sure,
it
sure.
all comes down to money.
Yeah,
As long as we get if the audience wants it and we're able to afford to do it, it is an independent project, so it's quite low budget when you compare it to some of the big studio series that are going on. We're cheap, but when you look at it, and we've been told this many times that when people look at it, they don't get that impression at
yeah.
all.
No, I didn't get that impression at all. And I thought for, being a church budget or whatever it might be, I'm like, this is really good. So, but how do you get funding to do the episodes? And because obviously editing takes money, producing takes money, all of it, paying actresses like yourself
Yeah.
takes money, right? So do they have channels in which they get funding?
Well, right now, one because Redeem TV has definitely been very supportive of us. But one way that the public can absolutely help us out is if you go to Redeem TV and remember how I said that if you have to become a donor
Mhm.
in order to see season three. Well, Redeem TV has made it to where if you donate and specify Vindication, 100% of your donation goes towards production
Oh,
of
wow.
Vindication. It does not go to Redeem TV. It all goes to production of Vindication. So yes, please, if you can make a donation, we'd appreciate that.
That's great. I didn't realize that. So I'm gonna have to look at Redeem TV, download the app or whatever I have to do. And yeah, I'll be happy to support it. So wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Peggy, for joining me today to share about Vindication, your role on Vindication. And yeah, you find the first two episodes over there on YouTube. I'm sure, I know how the YouTube algorithms work and monetization. And so there's revenue as little as it might be coming in when you even watch over there on YouTube as well. So, yeah, thanks so much for sharing and for promoting it. If you didn't promote it, I wouldn't have found it.
Thank you. And yeah, and follow Vindication on Facebook and Instagram with it's out there.
I
So
didn't
you'll see
realize
what's
that.
going
I'll
on with
give it a
season four.
follow too. Well,
Okay.
well, thanks so much, Peggy.
Thank you, Father.